Hi everyone, my name is Kay and today I'm just going to talk about the 5 stages of the adult Aspie, of what I went through after doing some research on Asperger's and kind of realizing I have it. The 5 stages that I have listed out are relief, research, recollection, rage, and recovery. So the 5 stages there. So the first stage of realizing that you have Asperger's, or that moment that it just clicks for you, whether you are self-diagnosed or formally diagnosed, is just utter relief. So after a whole sleepless night of watching videos and reading blogs and articles, there was just this huge sense of relief that just washed over me. You know, it's like a waterfall. It's like, it's like a bit of a tsunami. So this terrible feeling of not wanting to exist or hoping that I just could, stop feeling all this confusion just went away. It's just melted away. I read Samantha Craft's list for females and Asperger's, and that really made me realize that I wasn't alone. So the feeling that, hey, there's someone here who has had largely similar experiences to mine, and there were other, biologically female people who felt the same way, and this feeling that I'm not alone is just really amazing. I guess, that's what lots of people want to feel, they just don't want to be alone in their experiences or in their suffering. Misery loves company, the likes. And I figured this is the closest to an answer that I have ever found. So that's stage number 1, relief. Stage number 2, research and recollection. These 2 stages occur soon after this feeling of relief, as the information slowly sinks in and I come to terms that yes, maybe I have Asperger's, just maybe. So these 2 stages of research and recollection really overlap with each other, with my research feeding into my recollection. During these stages, Asperger's became my new special interest. I had to read everything I could find. I couldn't stop reading. I had many sleepless nights. And the more I read, the more sense my life was beginning to make. While I was doing all this research and reading up, I started getting, something like a flashback. It's like light at the end of the tunnel, or, just kind of like this thing just sucking you back into your past, and all these memories just surface, and I started seeing them in a different light from through different lenses. It's like I end up revisiting unpleasant or confusing memories in my past, and my brain just started making sense of it. An example would be this, I was 14 years old, I was in secondary 2, and I was generally a pretty active and friendly student who asked questions in class, and I would volunteer for activities if I could, because I wanted to be helpful. I wanted to be friendly to people. I wanted people to think that I'm friendly, that they could approach me. Until one day I helped out this one girl in class. And then it was outside of school, and she just came up to me and she confessed to me this secret that apparently everybody knew and I didn't. And that was that she thought the entire time, the whole year, that I was cold, I was arrogant, and I was antisocial. And that everybody else in the class thought the same way. And I was just surprised. I'm like, what did I do to make you think that I'm that antisocial? I tried to help, I tried to answer questions, I tried to ask you about your interests and help you out whenever I thought somebody needed help, but apparently I was still arrogant, antisocial, and just not approachable at all. So that was pretty confusing for me at 14 years old. But I was pretty happy that she told me that, hey, you're a pretty friendly person when I actually get to know you. So, I'm kind of glad that I was wrong about you. And that made me happy as well, so I didn't think much about it. I thought, okay, that was it, and then that was over until now. So after many sleepless nights and a lot of research, I decided to seek out a professional to see if they could diagnose. Some of this is covered in my previous videos about the mistakes I've made during my journey in seeking a diagnosis, which I didn't get. Long story short, the GP I went to, she believed me, and one of the psychiatrists at the mental health clinic did as well, but they had no power to give me an official diagnosis. I have decided that maybe getting a diagnosis might be more trouble than it's worth at the moment, so I'm just currently putting it on hold, but I've kind of like making an appointment for something next year. I'll see how it goes. I'll keep you updated on that. After all this going back in time and getting to know myself and looking back at all my memories in retrospect, that kind of simmers down a bit. Then the next stage comes in pretty much like a hurricane, and this is anger. This is rage. The nice holiday period of being relieved, anxious, curious kind of gave way to this uncontrollable anger. I was just angry all the time. Especially when I realized that there is this terrible unfairness to it all, because you see, I've always believed that if someone was being weird or awkward, they are not controlling themselves, they are not working hard enough. I'm sure everyone thinks about how they should present themselves, talk to their friends, talk to their families, be polite, don't do stupid things like shake your hands or bounce your knees, things like that. So I thought everyone who did that, especially as an adult, they must have perfected it, this acting, this masking, and that maybe they were fast learners. Maybe I was a slower learner. And I thought that, okay, I just have to work a little harder to catch up and to control myself, just like everyone else who made it. You see, most people don't have to work at controlling themselves to appear natural. So the more I realized how little effort most people put into all these things, the angrier I got. I got so angry about this, I would just randomly just break into tears from the utter frustration of realizing that I've wasted decades of my life doing this stuff that I actually don't have to do, and I could have used all this effort and time into pursuing my special interest, or at the very least I could cut myself some slack. So I thought that if I did something wrong, if I made a social mistake, it was my fault. I need to learn to do better. If I lost control, if I started fidgeting, I didn't mask myself properly, 24/7, even in my own home, I did the best to just keep my mask on. And partially because of that, I also learned how to do cosplay and makeup, and they were actually kind of stress relieving for me, because you would perceive me for the character that I'm playing, and there is no better, feeling than being able to appear as something that you can acknowledge that I'm doing it, that I'm playing the character. Well, I might get into cosplay and Aspergers in another video another time, I guess. It's something that I'm probably quite interested in, and I'll keep you updated. I tried to express myself this way. You know how the saying goes, like, you can't judge a fish for their ability to climb trees. So I'm the fish who managed to climb the goddamn tree. And I'm covered in bruises and cuts and scars, and I can't breathe because there's no water, and the monkeys around me is just saying, you can do better. You're doing great. You can do better. Let's climb higher, but I can't. Also, a lot of the anger comes from the idea that I kind of formed in my head when I was a kid, that if I lost control or if I did something wrong, that means I was seeking attention. If someone asked me, hey, you look sick today, or you look tired today, that means I was seeking attention. I was being this spoiled brat, wanting people to, notice me. There was this psychiatrist that I went to, and he said that if I was truly an attention seeker or pretending to do something for attention, I wouldn't go as far as to display those traits, to do my stimming or whatsoever in private, and I would gloat if people bought my act, which I didn't. So I obviously wasn't seeking attention. And if I knew I had Asperger's, say, 20 years ago, I would have avoided so much of these problems. I would have learned to cut myself some slack. I could have explained myself better, avoided miscommunications, and most importantly, I could have avoided harmful stimming and a slew of medical health problems that resulted in a lot of doctor's bills and, well, surgeries and stuff like that. So this stage of utter rage lasted a really long time, but it finally came to an end, as all things do, and I'm really glad it did. So, which is where I am right now. I call this the last stage, recovery. It's kind of like more like a road to recovery where you kind of slowly ease off the anger and you realize that, hey, you know, I can't dwell in the past. I can't think about what could have been. I can't stay angry at the world. I just have to move on, do what I can, understand my own talents and abilities, and know that I have something that I can I can share with the world. I'm choosing the word recovery because I use the letter R's for all the previous sections as well. So I just gotta keep to using R because this video is brought to you by the letter R. So now that I'm actually on the road to recovery as I am helping myself, I hope I can help others find their way as well, because I really don't want to see anyone else go through all this low self-esteem, confusion, feeling like you're just wrong for this world, when all that is needed to ease a huge part of this suffering is just this one simple label of Asperger's. It will be enough for you and hopefully your loved ones to understand you better and make your life much easier. Right, so that's it for this video. I hope you found it useful. There is actually a similar stages of Asperger's for adults covered by Rudy Simone's book, Aspergirls. I'll link it in the description below so you can check it out. Her book is much more descriptive and in-depth, since this video is pretty much about my personal experience rather than for all Aspies out there, but I think it will probably resonate with quite a lot of you out there who are on the spectrum. Let me know what you thought about this video, and if you felt that it applied to you too, if you are on the spectrum, or if you know someone on the spectrum who felt the same way I did. And thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.